So we're on to the next stage, and what are we doing here?
We're going to put the midsole on, but before we do that, we put a rubber squeak pad in. And what the squeak pad does is, when you have two pieces of leather that are married together, they can move independently. So the rubber helps it from
Starting to squeak.
Hence
the name.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
all children would prefer if you didn't put that on,
Exactly.
right?
So Robert's going to show you here what he's going to do.
Okay, make sure that
He's rounding out the edge to try and remove all the creases.
we'll take it. And
This is applying the midsole.
start with the toe. Make sure the heel's straight.
Is there glue on that?
Yes, there's we coat the leather midsoles twice because it'll soak up the glue. So we coat them twice, and the boots only get one coat, and once they get heated up, they stick. Midsole on. And I'm now gonna work the midsole onto the boot.
And what is this midsole made of?
It's an oak tanned leather.
Oak tan leather. It looks just like wood, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of shaves like wood too.
Yeah.
The little leather shavings.
So he's forming it now to the bottom of the shoe last and forming it around the shank itself. And the next step will be to nail it all together with these special nails that we have that are called clinch nails.
Now you use different tanning for different processes. The outer of the boot is going to be a vegetable tanned oil, where this you said is an oak tan.
They call it an oak tan. It's a little more durable. It's a little denser, and it holds the material together so that you don't absorb some of your sweat into it, and it just makes the boot last. It's the foundation of the boot, so it has to be a denser, harder material.
Are there other types of tanning?
Yes, there are. And other manufacturers will use other types of insoles. There are some man-made insoles. This is all 100% leather. We do it all natural. So now he's going to start nailing, and these are special nails. They're called clinch nails. They'll go through all the leather, and when they bottom out on the bottom of the shoe last, which is metal, they bend, and then they clinch, and they squeeze all the parts together.
I don't know if we show that very well, but on those lasts that they put inside the shoes, on the bottom is metal. And so this is going to hit the metal and then bend, essentially.
Exactly.
Okay.
So these nails, you can start to see the arch forming. He's actually, those nails are pulling that down and forming that, pulling it in tight to the boot. Can you show me a close-up of those nails and kind of how they're designed to bend? So they're basically, they have a
little cutout or something.
they're cut out, which is a weaker point, and that just bends over and makes like a fish hook.
So yeah, exactly. As soon as it hits the metal, it bends over, and then it gets squeezed. The leather gets squeezed between the nail head and the clinched part.
So I would imagine that when you guys are rebuilding the boots, these are pretty hard to get apart.
Yes,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
Here's here's the start of it clinching. I just barely tapped it in there, and I still had about a quarter of the nail to go, and it's already starting to clinch.
So you have a lot of adjustability with these. You can.
Not really.
You want them
to clinch all the way.
You want them bent 90 degrees over.
And here's the bottom of the shoe last. That's metal.
That's why.
That's what it'll hit.
So they come in here and they hit this, and then that's what bends them over.
Exactly.
That is an ingenious design. They were probably doing that a long time ago, huh?
They were. Yes. This is old school technology.
All right. So what's this next process called?
The next thing that happens to the boots after they get done there is I put a slip on it. Now this is a 4-iron slip.
So
A 4 is the thickness.
It's leather.
It's rubber.
It's rubber. Okay.
Okay, this piece is rubber. And that is what I stick to the bottom of the midsole.
Okay.
And then these particular ones, the 4-iron, is done with yellow glue.
Okay.
Okay. And we just stick it on like that.
And this is the press.
This is a hydraulic press. And this handle right there determines how long that's pressed down.
And so you're pressing these, and that's helping to set and bond the glue.
It helps the glue to bond together.
Presses out any air or any voids or anything in it then.
Right, most of it. Okay, the other I'll show you over here is what I do with the welt wheel and the trimmer and then the hammer.
Well, it certainly lets you know when it's done, doesn't it?
Yeah. And this is a welt wheel. Mine's at a little different angle than his is.
Is that a personal preference or just the way the machine was designed?
Well, I believe this one helps with getting the air out of where the shank cover is.
Okay, so now you...
Wait, you just did that so quickly, so you were pressing them together.
Right.
Okay.
Can you show how that fits in there and what you're doing with this process?
Okay. Then you put the boot in here.
So it's a clamp.
And the wheel sets on top of the midsole. And the sole sits on top of this barrel.
Can you do that in a slow motion?
And then I run it in reverse, and that bottom barrel pulls that through there, and it presses that edge down. Okay, now essentially that's stuck in there right. Then holding the boot straight, I run it through this trimmer.
So do you have different sizes that you start with, and then
Different size what?
the soles that you start with, and then you trim away different amounts?
Right. There's different size soles for different size boots, but there's standard ranges.
Okay.
So that's the rough trim, and then you'll do a polish on that at another stage, right?
Right, that doesn't happen here.
Okay. That's where you leave it off, right there.
Then I put it on my boot jack, and I just give it a final. This is just to make sure that the whole thing is fitting tight and tightening up next to that shank. And I've got it. And then I'm finished with the boot.
Thank you.
So this, what do you call this machine here?
Stitcher?
This is a stitcher. And how many moving parts are in this machine?
Couple? There's a bunch. It's yeah, I mean,
It looks
complicated.
Very complicated. So
I don't work on it.
we were joking that there's probably a couple hundred guys in the world that could run one of these, and you're one of them.
I am now.
Does this mean that you're exceedingly patient?
No, I needed the job.
All right,
Pretty much all that means.
so show me what the boot looks like when you get it, when it's ready for stitching. Okay, so now we're going over, and you're actually going to do the stitching
I'm
the
going to
sole
stitch right along the inside here.
in. And you're going to do this, right, Mrs. Wranglerstar?
I might pass on this one.
Oh, just watch me do it once.
Well, it does need two rows of stitching, right?
Yes, it does. Unless the ticket says otherwise.
Oh, okay, so you can special order stitching even.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, you wouldn't believe some of the boots we get. You know, I mean, got one guy, he got a tall pair of boots with eyes on one side and hooks on the other. Or, no, hooks on this side and eyes on this side. For riding horse.
You guys can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I do that over there.
So you white or
This is
a little alcohol?
This is alcohol and water.
Okay.
And,
That helps to lubricate the.
Yeah, it helps to slide through. Flip it on. And I start right about back here where the counter meets the vamp. Somewhere around in here. So it's kind of long back in here. And got two pedals down here. With this pedal down, it's locked. It won't stitch, but all you got to do is hit this pedal. And kind of start out a little fast so it'll penetrate the rubber and the metal and the leather. Get the first row to disappear underneath when they put the heel on.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And the second row is, I'll explain in a minute. See, you should be able to do that.
Nicely done. All right, you ready?
You know, I think I have to go. Yeah. It's amazing how thick that is. That's quite a machine.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't want to get my fingers stuck in it.
No.
But see, I can get pretty tight around that boot.
That is beautiful.
Very nice.
And so, boy, that is a lot of material to go through with the
Actually,
stitch.
when you lube it, it just slides right along.
Wow.
You know. But
Thank you.
But that's not why not everybody's doing it.
that's why I've only been doing it for a year, and I'm still, you know, it's kind of hairy at first. You wouldn't even let me do the lugs for about 6 months.
Yeah.
That stitching machine was really something. They had 4 of those machines there. 2 of them were in service, and they had one to the left and one to the right that were in reserve. I think the idea was that once those are gone, they may not be very easy to replace or not replaceable at all, and so they did have those in reserve. But beautiful, beautiful machine. That was very interesting. So the question is going to come up: who makes the best boots? I have been into boots and it's kind of been a hobby of mine. It's always been something I've been very interested in, whether it be Wesco's or White's or Nick's or Adams or Red Wings or Chippewa. There's some really good boot manufacturers out there. So who's the best? Who makes the best boot? Well, there's a lot of companies that make a good boot, but I can tell you this. After what I have seen in the factory and spent the whole day there and talked to the craftsmen and learned the difference and the shortcuts and what some companies do, what some companies don't, I am convinced 100% that you will not find a finer boot made than a Nick's. I just don't. If it exists, I don't know where it would.